Hi, in this video we will have a look at how large hydrocarbon molecules are cracked using steam cracking and catalytic cracking. We'll also have a look at how to write equations for cracking reactions and how to test the products of cracking for any unsaturation present. You should have an understanding of the structure of alkanes and alkenes to get the most from this video. Click the links in the description if you need more help. At an oil refinery, crude oil is separated out into many different fractions, where each fraction contains hydrocarbon molecules of a similar size. The molecules range from small chain hydrocarbon molecules such as methane and ethane through middle-sized molecules all the way up to large chain hydrocarbon molecules such as those found in waxes, grease and bitumen. The smaller hydrocarbon molecules are more flammable. There is more of a demand for these small chain hydrocarbons. The problem is, after the oil is refined, too many of the larger, less useful large chain hydrocarbon molecules are produced and not enough of the more useful smaller chain hydrocarbon molecules are formed. There is a massive demand for these small chain highly flammable hydrocarbon molecules for use in fuels such as petrol, diesel and kerosene. To solve this supply and demand problem, chemists break or crack up large chain hydrocarbon molecules into smaller, more flammable and more useful hydrocarbon molecules. Now, cracking can be carried out in various ways. In GCSE chemistry, we're only going to look at two different methods: catalytic cracking and steam cracking. Whichever method is used, recall that the whole point of cracking is to turn large unwanted hydrocarbon molecules into smaller, more useful hydrocarbon molecules. So let's start off by looking at catalytic cracking. As an example, consider the cracking of liquid decane into smaller molecules. Your teacher may have carried out a similar experiment to this in class using the setup shown. Here, the liquid decane, or the molecule to be cracked, is placed in a boiling tube, which is a plug of heat-resistant or fire-resistant Roxol wool soaked in decane at its base. A catalyst containing aluminium oxide, or more often than not simply some broken pieces of crockery or pottery, is placed in the boiling tube. To start the cracking reaction, the catalyst is heated strongly with a Bunsen burner until the catalyst is hot. The flame is then passed down to the Roxol wool containing the decane. The liquid decane will then be vaporized, and once the hot vapors pass over the catalyst, they will be cracked. Now, the cracked molecules will pass down the delivery tube and into the trough, which is filled with water. If any of the cracked molecules are liquid, they are likely to be found on the water surface, but any cracked molecules which are gases can be collected in the boiling tube as shown. The products formed can vary from these cracking reactions, but as an example, let's say that the molecule decane cracks to form ethane gas and octane, which is a liquid. The ethane gas will be collected in the boiling tube, and the octane liquid is likely to be found floating on top of the water since it is insoluble in water. You may have noticed in the previous example that when decane was cracked, it produced a saturated alkane molecule and an unsaturated alkene molecule. Now, when large hydrocarbon molecules are cracked, the products always contain a mixture of saturated alkanes and unsaturated alkene molecules. When writing either word or symbolic equations for cracking reactions, it is easy to work out the products formed by simply counting atoms. For example, if octane is cracked to form hexane and one other product, then how would you go about working out an equation for this reaction? Well, simply start by writing the formula for the chemicals that you are given. Now, we can see that on the reactant side of the equation there are 8 carbon atoms, while on the product side there are only 6 carbon atoms. This means that the other compound must contain 2 atoms of carbon, while on the reactant side there are 18 hydrogen atoms, whereas in the hexane produced on the product side there are only 14 carbon atoms. This means that there are 4 hydrogen atoms left over. This means that the other product formed has got 2 carbon atoms and 4 hydrogen atoms. That is, it is the unsaturated alkene ethene. Steam cracking is another method used to break up or crack large hydrocarbon molecules into smaller, more useful ones. Steam cracking is a type of thermal cracking in that it uses high temperature to break up the hydrocarbon molecules. The actual cracking reaction takes place in narrow tubes inside a furnace which is heated to around 800 to 1200 degrees Celsius. The feedstock or hydrocarbon to be cracked is fed into the furnace at one end and mixed with high temperature steam. Now the hydrocarbon and the steam mixture is passed through the narrow pipes inside the furnace very quickly, and the cracking reaction happens inside these pipes or tubes. The steam takes no part in the actual cracking reaction, but it helps prevent unwanted side reactions and also helps to reduce the build-up of soot in the pipes. The cracked gas leaves the furnace and is quickly cooled and collected. Now we have seen that when a large hydrocarbon molecule is cracked, it will produce a mixture of saturated alkanes and unsaturated alkene molecules. A simple test to determine whether a particular liquid or gas is saturated or unsaturated involves adding red-brown bromine water to a sample of each in a test tube as shown on the screen. The two test tubes on the left contain an unsaturated alkene and a saturated alkane. If a few drops of red-brown bromine water is added to each test tube, and then the two test tubes are shaken violently for a few seconds, then the red-brown bromine water will be decolorized by the unsaturated alkene, but the saturated alkane will not be able to decolorize the bromine water. Hi, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or would simply like more information, then why not visit the website that accompanies these videos? The links are in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you.